What if the next 90 days of your life are already showing themselves to you right now? Like literally right this second.
Within the first 10 seconds, we're already diving off the deep end.
Absolutely. I'm serious, Mike. What if your environment is not random? What if reality is actually reflecting exactly
Hmm.
what's coming next?
Uh,
You're too distracted to notice the signals.
okay. Okay, Nick. Come on. It's summer. People are thinking about barbecues, beaches. Now you're telling them that the future is somehow laying itself out in their living room. It sounds like psychic commercial from 1999.
I know, right? Well, hey, cut me some slack and look at this practically. It's not about horoscopes and magic crystals, reading tea leaves, woo woo wands, dowsing. It's about pattern recognition. For thousands of years, people looked at the 2 weeks before and after
All right.
summer solstice as a literal mirror, a natural preview track for the next quarter, the next 3 months.
Okay, our ancestors also thought sacrificing goats would make rain. It would make it rain. It doesn't mean it's a functional framework for modern life. It could be like old folklore.
Well, what if they were onto something we completely forgot or disregard? What if reality leaves physical data? I call it the ancient way of knowing. And if the people listening right now take a hard look at what happened to them over the last 72 hours, let's say, they're going to realize, wait, this is actually happening to me right now.
All right, I'll bite, but you better bring some receipts because right now I am heavily leaning toward this being pure confirmation bias.
Well, really, it's
All
it's
right,
it's a combo. And I've got receipts. How long have we lived here?
about 18 years, give
Yep,
or take.
exactly. In nearly 2 decades. How many hummingbirds have we seen?
We've seen one hummingbird. I don't know, maybe we don't have feeders and we have a heavy tree cover. They don't come around here. It's really not their
No,
environment.
you're right. You're right. Exactly. Never.
Okay.
Until exactly 4 days ago, right
Yeah.
at the start of the solstice window.
Right. Okay, so wait, are you seriously going to bring up the hummingbird?
Of
It
course.
was one bird that it probably just got lost looking for a hibiscus plant or whatever.
Well, here's the thing. If you recall, it wasn't one. That's the point. On Tuesday, sitting back, the tiny hummingbird hovers 2 feet from
Right.
the window. Then a few hours later, it came back, or it was
All
another
right.
hummingbird looking at you. Wednesday, you were watering the plants, and another hummingbird came.
Right. All right.
Friday morning, having coffee, looking out the window. There's another hummingbird. And so, in 18 years, there was silence and settling during the precise 2 week window
Right.
prior. They were practically trying to move in.
Right. All right. You're turning a completely normal biological coincidence into a text message from the cosmos.
Okay. And this is cool. And I'm really glad you're coming at it from this way because this is what everyone is thinking. Okay.
Mhm.
But the truth is, once you start tracking your data, which we have done now
Mhm.
for 3 decades, you understand that the universe is talking, is communicating 24/7, gently giving you the snapshots and the previews.
All right.
It's not just a coincidence.
Right.
The ancient way of knowing says it's a pattern, it's an observable
Right.
preview of a shift coming in the next 90.
Okay, look, this is exactly how people lose their effing minds. They see three crows on a stop sign and think they need to quit their job. How do you differentiate between genuine pattern and life happening?
Oh, this is too perfect. The simplest way ever. If it's a coincidence or if something is so bizarre and
Right.
unique,
All
it
right.
stands out to you.
All right.
Then there's a message for you specifically.
So,
Otherwise, not at all. Your shoes untied, don't worry about it. Keep on going. But if it's a coincidence or stands out, it
right.
caught your attention for a reason. The improbability of it
All right.
and by how it makes you feel. When you looked at that bird, did you think, "Oh, biology," or did your gut say, "Whoa, what's
Yeah.
this?"
It caught my attention, almost like it's got a message for me. It
Right?
really, really grabbed my attention. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it forces you to pay attention, really. And now
Yeah.
let's talk about Sarah for a minute. Corporate attorney, total skeptic, if you remember.
Right.
Ultra rational. It started with rabbits during the June solstice window.
All right. Okay, great. First hummingbirds, now bunnies. Are we
Hey,
are we entering Alice in Wonderland?
just perhaps. Okay, she lives in downtown Chicago. She's walking to her office
All right.
building. Right outside of the concrete plaza, a bunny, a wild rabbit, is sitting on the manicured grass. She stops. She even took a
All
photo
right.
because it's so rare.
All
The
right.
next day, she's on a Zoom call with a high stakes client, and the client's toddler walks into the frame wearing rabbit
All
ears.
right.
Okay. That night, she goes to a restaurant she's been to 50 times, and the seasonal menu features a sketch of a white rabbit.
Well, okay, but
That's
if I
3 times in 48 hours.
if I buy a red car, I suddenly see red cars everywhere. It's the phenomenon. Her brain just flagged the word rabbit, so her subconscious started filtering for it. It's basic
Uh,
psychology.
the cognitive science explanation only accounts for the filtering of data.
Okay.
It does not account for the timing or the consequence or the message. Don't force a meaning yet. You just observe. You observe the archetype of the rabbit. It digs tunnels under the surface. It moves incredibly fast. It represents rapid leaps.
Right.
2 weeks
All right.
later, a massive whistleblower situation erupted inside her law firm. Information that had been buried, and it came to light. The senior partner scrambled. The
Right.
firm dissolved, and within 60 days, she had to
Wow.
launch her own boutique, and
Wow.
she had to move fast. She had to leap.
Okay, hold on, hold
Yep.
on. This is
Okay.
where I have to push back. If she had seen a turtle, you would have said the turtle represents slow, steady growth. You're just retrofitting the meaning after the fact to match the symbol.
No, no, no.
Okay.
The symbol sets the operational
Oh,
tone.
okay.
The transition wasn't long and drawn out retirement plan. It was an explosive sudden leap. The
Okay.
recurring data gave her a 90-day heads up so her nervous system could
Right.
prepare
Right.
for the speed of the thing coming.
Okay. But why would the environment project a career track for a Chicago corporate lawyer? It sounds egocentric to think the world revolves around our daily schedules.
But it does, and it's so amazing. It's
Hmm.
really about alignment. We aren't separate from nature. The earth goes through massive physical shifts during
Right.
solstices. The planet tilts, the light shifts. Civilizations like the builders of Stonehenge or,
Right.
or ancient Egyptians didn't build giant stone monuments for fun. They did it because they knew, these markers were times when human consciousness and environmental patterns synchronize. And if you don't believe it happens through animals, we can talk about language. Have you ever had a phrase follow you around?
Right, right, right. That makes sense.
Ah,
So what do you mean a phrase like a song maybe stuck in your head, that kind of thing?
well, that too, but I was referring to a specific arrangement of words spoken by completely unrelated
All right.
people. 2 summers ago, during the June solstice window, a client of mine, Dave, do you remember Dave?
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember Dave.
He was at the coffee shop, and the barista messes up his order and says, "Well, you can't build a house on a shaky foundation."
All right.
Later that afternoon, he's listening to some random business podcast. The guest speaker says, "When you're scaling a tech startup, you can't build a house on a
A
shaky foundation."
coincidence, a synchronicity.
Yes.
Still totally within the realm of coincidence. People use cliches.
Yes, but that's the point. That
Okay.
weekend, he went to the barbecue and he's talking to his brother-in-law who's complaining about the marriage. The brother-in-law says, "I just feel like we built a house on shaky foundation, on shaky ground." Now that's 3 times completely different context.
Right.
The barista, the tech CEO, the brother-in-law. Because Dave was
Right.
he was tracking his data during the solstice
Right.
window.
Right.
He
Right.
wrote it down. He thought, shaky foundation, where in my life am I building on sand?
Right. Okay. And what was the answer?
His financial life, he had been investing heavily in a high risk venture
Ah,
with
okay.
the business partner he didn't fully trust. And we told him he shouldn't be doing it
All right.
anyway.
Gotcha.
Yes, he had been ignoring the red flags, and that repeating
Mhm.
phrase was a direct warning flare. Within 30 days, the partner tried to
All right.
embezzle funds. The
Wow.
venture collapsed. But
Okay.
because Dave identified the phrase, took it seriously, he audited his situation and already pulled out his primary
Okay.
capital 2 weeks prior.
Oh, wow.
Like, He saved his own ass.
Are you saying the world knew his partner was going to steal from him?
Well, I'm saying the pattern of collapse. The pattern of collapse was already
All
active
right.
and in motion, and the cracks in
Right.
the foundation were already there. Reality was reflecting back to him through language
Mm.
before the final break happened. It's an early warning system. It's smoke before the
All
fire.
right.
If you smell smoke, then you look for the fire.
Okay, Nick, but think about the sheer volume of words we hear in a day. Statistically, the same phrase is bound to repeat occasionally. So, why do you automatically assume it has a deep meaning for the bank account? What if people only remember the hits and completely forget the misses?
Well, the misses don't carry any
All right.
weight. When a phrase hits you like that, it leaves an echo. Again, the coincidence, it's almost as if it lights up.
Right.
Things breaking work the same way. Think about a time when everything in your house seemed to malfunction simultaneously, like 3 light bulbs go out on the same day.
Yeah, it's called a Tuesday and it sucks.
Let waves of bad luck be data for just a second.
All right.
2 years ago, right around June, and you remember this client, Maria, she experienced a complete demolition derby of appliances.
All right.
The coffee maker leaked all over, broken. The next day, the car alternator
Right.
completely died.
All right.
The day after that, the handle on the front door
Right.
literally snapped off in her hand. 3 mechanical failures in like
Oh,
72
wow.
hours. Yeah. So,
See, that's my point. I just caused her stress. How is a broken handle? It's just an expensive repair bill.
well, that's what most people would think. But because Maria stopped to look at the nature
All
of what
right.
was breaking, the alternator, the door handle, the coffee maker, they're all
Mhm.
mechanisms of transmission, access, and energy.
Right.
Energy flow. The alternator generates power for movement. The handle allows entry to a
Right.
new
Right.
space. The coffee maker kickstarts her daily energy. So all of her systems of movement and access were shutting down.
And what was trying to move forward?
Well, she was about to sign a lease
All
on a
right.
commercial space to
All right.
expand her retail business.
Right.
She was forcing it though. Her gut, if you remember, she was hesitant. The gut was screaming, this contract is wrong. It's the wrong
All
time.
right.
But she kept like trying to ignore her intuition. She wanted it so bad. She thought she had to expand. So when the car died, she couldn't make it to the
Right.
meeting to sign that lease. She was forced to pause. She was forced to stop.
Right.
And during those couple days, she discovered the city was planning a massive road construction, a project right in front of the building that would block foot traffic for the next 18 months. The breakdowns mirrored the roadblocks she was
All
about to
right.
run into.
Wow, that's a wild story, but I can hear the listeners right now
Yeah.
thinking, is this real or is this just a really comforting way to cope with like bad luck? If things are breaking, I'm projecting meaning onto chaos because humans crave order. They do.
Well, this is true. Okay. We crave order because nature operates on order.
Hmm.
Okay. But the seasons don't happen by accident. The tides don't shift by accident, you know. So why would we assume our
Hmm.
lives are the only things exempt? The ancient way of knowing it teaches that the 90 days following the solstice are the specific
Right.
season of enactment. Whatever themes are showing up, the 2 weeks before every solstice and equinox and the 2 weeks after, that's the blueprint
Okay.
for your next quarter.
Okay. So let's test this theory. If someone
Mhm.
is listening to this right now, what are they supposed to look for? Give them a framework, concrete framework.
Okay, you got it. Coincidence, repeating, bizarre, unique event, something
All
that
right.
stands out. There's 5 categories of feedback
All right.
reality uses.
All right.
And you'll see how practical it is. Okay. And it's giving a preview of the next 90. So
Okay.
the 5 markers, okay? Repeating animals, right?
All
An
right.
unusual
All right.
encounter with an animal happens multiple times. It feels deliberate, this type of thing.
All right.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable. All right.
Echo phrases, the
All right.
repeating thing. A specific phrase, lyric, or sequence of words spoken by completely unrelated
All right.
sources within a short window. How about the breakdown signal?
All right.
unexpected mechanical or structural failures in the home, the car,
Right.
technology. It often mirrors an energetic blockage or an impending course correction.
All right.
And you know what? I even want to say, like, let's go with that for just a second. Let's say, because we haven't even talked about dreams.
Mhm.
Let's say you dream of the bicycle, you're on the bicycle, and you have a flat tire. It means you're out of balance. Yes, in some area of your life, and you need to get back on track and get back in balance. So it's not just outward signs, although, we're awake more than we're asleep. So it's easier to see signs than remember dreams. Nonetheless, when you gather all your data, that's when you're in the best position to really get
Mhm.
that snapshot
Right.
of your next quarter.
All right.
Then there's the stranger mirror, the
Right.
random interaction with a total stranger who says something directly that addresses an internal question you haven't shared with anyone. And what we love to call this one out of the blue.
Out of the
He
blue. All
said
right.
it out of the blue. It happened out of the blue.
Mhm.
Out of the blue is code for direct message from spirit anytime it happens.
Huh. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, no, it's totally cool. And then lastly, why don't you share with the folks what the fifth one is?
Recurring dream themes, having a same dream or waking up with the exact same emotional residue several nights in a
Mhm.
row during 2 weeks. Yep, I love
Yes.
that one
I
actually.
know.
The stranger mirror thing, I've actually experienced that, and it weirded me out for months.
Okay, why don't you tell us? Tell us that
Okay.
story.
It was years ago around this exact time of year,
Mhm.
longest day of the year. I was agonizing over whether to leave my academic post to pursue a completely different direction. And I hadn't told anyone. I was alone having breakfast. And
This.
this guy in a mechanic's uniform sits in the stool next to me, orders a coffee, looks at me out of nowhere and says, "You can't catch the next trapeze bar if you don't let go of the one you're already holding."
Holy shit.
Then he paid and walked out. I thought, whoa.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy event. Okay, go on, please.
It caught my attention. I wanted to believe he was just a guy who liked the circus metaphors, but it really hit me in the chest. And I resigned 3 weeks later, and it was the best decision I've ever made in my life.
It actually was.
Yeah.
It improved our lifestyle, it improved your mood,
Right.
and yeah, so something out of the blue, right?
And
Right, right?
and it was mid-June. Yes, it was.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we're talking about, folks. The mechanic wasn't a psychic, and he wasn't a vessel for the pattern that was already active in Mike's life or our life.
Right.
But the odd thing is if you miss the signal, to understand it, to choose it, and
Mhm.
to not pay attention. This is one of our all time favorites, our client, and this is in Phoenix, and she's got palm trees, right? Obviously. And she wakes up. You remember this one.
Mhm.
She woke up and her palm tree was laying down in her front yard. There were no storms, nothing occurred, just the palm tree. So she called. She was like, "What the heck do you think this means?" I said, "Some area of your life is about to be
Mhm.
uprooted." And so that could sound like, whoa. But I said, then it doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. Well, you know what happened? You remember within 1 month, her hubby got a promotion
Mhm.
and they ended up moving across the country.
Right.
It was fabulous. Fabulous. So, when you notice the things, it's the interaction, the quantum
Right.
physics. As a matter of fact, you love talking about quantum so much. Why don't you share briefly with the peeps how it works at a quantum level, the
Okay.
interaction and the reflection?
It's really simple at a quantum level. And simple quantum physics, everybody laughs and said there's no such thing. Actually, a guy 60, 70 years ago named John Bell proved that everything is connected in the universe. A star system 400 light years away is connected to what I'm doing today in my neighborhood. Yes, it's that connected. Everything is a hologram. So vibrationally, when I'm wondering about something or even behaviorally doing something, that reflection goes out as an electronic signal, a
Nice.
vibration, and it hits and echoes back. And that's why I start getting answers. People say things to me like, "Whoa, what a synchronicity. I was just wondering about that." And they answered it. That's how it works. Everything's connected, and the vibration keeps that echo going back and forth and informing our local reality. It seems like magic, but it's not. It's just that at a quantum level, everything
Nice.
is connected.
Yeah. And it really is magical
Yeah,
for
it is
sure.
magical, actually.
Yeah. So the missed sign. So we talked so much about the success stories. Let's talk about what happens when you ignore the warning flares. Let's look back quickly, briefly at the themes we've covered in past episodes,
Mhm.
trusting yourself and leaning into the intuition and how we get blindsided. And last year, during the exact window when we were working with Marcus, and this dude was brilliant. And mind you, we've changed names to keep everything confidential. But he was offered a massive partnership at a new firm. His environment started shouting at him.
Mhm. What kind of signals?
First, his home security system started glitching
Ah,
out of nowhere. It kept triggering a false
all right,
alarm,
all right.
specifically stating backdoor compromised. He had the technicians out twice. They found nothing wrong with the alarm. Next, he went to lunch random with his dad, and the
Right.
next table there's people and they're arguing with the manager shouting, "You lied about the data.
Mm,
The contract is built on a lie." Finally, Marcus had a vivid dream 3 nights in a row.
all
He was
right,
stepping onto that escalator and that it suddenly reversed and pulled him into the gears.
all right. So that escalator dream sounds terrifying. Did he recognize really what was happening, though? No.
That's it. That's the thing he did.
Okay.
He sat, he came over one day, you were busy, and and he said, "I feel like my environment's warning me. The new firm's a trap. I feel like, something's compromised behind the scenes." He identified the pattern. He even felt it in his gut. The data was right in front of him.
So what did he do?
He signed the contract anyway.
Uh-huh.
He let his logical
All
mind
right.
override the internal tracking system, the internal guidance system.
All
He
right.
told himself, "I'm just being paranoid. The money's too good to pass up." So he willfully ignored the warning. He
Mhm.
didn't want to disrupt his plan.
So what happened over the next 90
Oh
days?
my gosh. He was completely blindsided,
Ah,
as we say. Less than 2 months into the job, investigators raided the firm, the feds. The founding partners had been running a massive
whoa.
scheme for years.
Right.
Marcus, hadn't done anything illegal.
All right.
He was new, but because his name was on the partnership agreement,
Yeah.
his reputation was it was decimated. And he spent the rest of the year in legal
Right.
depots and broke, shattered. It was catastrophic, man.
That's really heavy, but it highlights actually the real problem,
Right?
doesn't it? It's easy to look back 2020 after a
Yeah.
disaster and say, I should have
Mhm.
listened. Yeah,
Yeah, and it brings us to the core of everything we teach at the Institute.
right.
Most people miss the signs, see the signs, they don't act. Like,
They're not paying attention, really.
most people see the signs, they simply don't act. But the other half of the time, they don't see the signs at all.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, they're not paying attention, they're not listening, and they don't realize that they are the receiver
Mm.
of, we call it Godspeak or knowingness,
Yes.
and it's 24/7. We are the sign.
Mhm.
And the reason we're getting these signs and these dreams and these gut feelings, and it's all because of our
Mhm.
interaction with a connected universe. And if we just pay attention and stop logically
Yeah.
overriding it and saying,
Mhm.
"Oh, it's just my imagination," then we would get the
Absolutely.
answer. It's there
You,
24/7.
we love to call it biometric reset.
Yep,
We also call it the radar reset, to get in tune, to raise the awareness,
right,
turn up the volume on these things.
right.
So anyhow, it's not really about rabbits. It's not really about hummingbirds. It's not really about repeating numbers like 1111, but it is because there's a
That's
message.
right. And I mean, hummingbirds mean generally things are humming, so relax.
Exactly. And with bunnies, things are prolific, things are hopping.
Hopping,
Absolutely.
unless you're listening to some hip hop at the same time.
And so it's about the relationship, the business deal,
Yeah,
the friendship, the opportunity, the warning,
yeah,
the dream, the thing you've been feeling for months. The signs don't create the knowing, they reveal. They
exactly.
reveal the knowing that's already there.
And most people don't trust it.
Oh gosh, no. Exactly. They miss the signal. Okay, they either miss it altogether or they witness it and they still don't
Yep.
rely on it, trust it. They
Right.
notice the repeating phrase, they notice the out of place, animal, they feel the drop in their gut,
But they ignore it, all of it.
Yeah.
And they don't trust it. That's the problem.
We gaslight ourselves. We say, "Oh, that's just a coincidence." Because acting on it requires courage, right?
Exactly.
It requires you to change your trajectory, stop the deal, have a conversation, step into the unknown. We don't lack info. We lack the bravery to
Right.
trust ourselves.
And that hits hard because if Marcus had just trusted his own gut reaction to those
Yeah.
observations, he would have walked away clean.
Yes.
He didn't need to see
No.
the future. He just needed to respect the data his reality was already providing right then. He needed to trust himself and pay attention.
Absolutely. The environment, it doesn't just do the work for you. It hands you the compass, it gives you
Right.
the data, but it's up to us to take action, And that's why we started the Institute based on the silent epidemic of being blindsided. That's what everyone says. I was blindsided left and right. And yes, but we have tools, the internal guidance system, to prevent the blind side or to soften the blow.
Exactly.
It's up to us to
Yeah.
use that compass.
And we are the sign.
We're in it right now. The solstice window is open at this moment. The clock is ticking. Remember, 2 weeks before every solstice, 2 weeks after, and the equinox, things are generating the blueprint for the next 90 days, the snapshot. So listening to the voice, it's not a passive exercise. You can't afford to wait until August to look back and realize you were warned. You need to start tracking your data tonight.
So grab a notebook and open notes on your phone. Call it Solstice Journal.
Yeah,
that'll work.
That would be cool. The 14-day solstice journal checklist.
Right. Okay.
Know any gut reappears or behaves, unusual, right?
Animals. Yep. You bet.
The language, you could write down any phrase that echoes across different conversations,
How about tracking physical items that fall apart or fail simultaneously? Yeah.
Or
do that.
or the 3 light bulbs that go out in one day, meaning you're losing energy.
Right.
Strangers, document unexpected advice from people who don't know your story out of the blue.
And record your dreams. Record your dreams, because upon waking, you'll get the answer.
Yeah, that specific residue you carry upon waking.
Yeah.
Don't let fear or laziness gaslight your intuition this week. If you see it, write it down. If it repeats, pay attention. The data is live, real, is being handed to you in real time. Don't close the app and go about your business. Sit down, look back at the last 48. The signals are there.
Share it with someone who needs to wake up and pay attention. Leave us a 5-star review and tell us in the comments what has been breaking, repeating, or showing up in your life over the last 48 hours. We are reading them tonight. Pay attention, wake up. Everything is connected, and you've already got the answer. It's within you. Just start noticing it and paying attention.
Subscribe, share, stay sharp. Do the 40-day state shift. Come hang with us. Do a radar reset so your awareness level is off the chart. Life will not look